Okay, I call this one compounding inequalities. You'll see that a few times in your careers, but the only reason I'm calling it that is because we have a less than sign and another less than sign. And we're going to see that a few times in these problems I'm going to show you. And that's all it means. There's two less thans or two greater thans. Not a big deal. But what is a big deal is some of the help they supposedly give you. And I'm a little bit annoyed by it, so I'm going to be honest about it, and I'm going to show you a better way. Okay, so let's look at the first thing I want to talk about. It would be this big chart here. So you're going to be asked a certain mathematical question, and it's going to have a little link for you to get this chart, which supposedly is designed to help you. In the green column here, we have all values of x. And they're just in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. So all those are all the way up to 100. In the white column is that number squared, or to the second power. So 1 squared is 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 times 5 is 25, etc. So we're supposed to be able to use this chart to help us with the questions we're going to be asked. And I'm going to show you exactly what those look like right now. But let me read this for you. Actually, I'll read it from here. They say to find a rational number, they give you a nice example. Find a rational number x such that the square root of 37 is less than x, but x is less than the square root of 38. In other words, a number that falls right between the square root of 37 and 38. I'm going to guess it's 6 point something. I think they show us that there, but we'll get to that in a second. 6 times 6 is 36, right? So let's read this. This is the part that I don't want to complain too much, so let me just read it. The square of x will have to be a decimal between 37 and 38. I agree. The table shows that the square of 61 is 3,721. It's a number between 3,700 and 3,800. Not exactly sure how you're supposed to get that means anything for this, but they go on. The square of 6.1 then must be 1/100th of that number, leading to the equality 6.1 squared equals 37.21. I tried to kind of illustrate that here. 61 times 61 is 3721, 3,721. So then 6.1 times 6.1 is just the exact same answer, but with the decimal two spaces to the left. And 37.21, of course, falls in between here. This is not the way I want you guys to handle this question, or questions like it. They will look something like this. Let's find a number between the square root of 79 and the square root of 80, using digits 0 through 9 for here. So it's going to be 8 point something, because 9 times 9 is 81, 8 times 8 is 64. So it's going to be, but the way we're going to do that is just simply use a calculator. So I'm going to grab a calculator. And I want you and everyone else in the world to skip this over here and find out what the square root of 79 is. And that's 8.888194. I doubt that I'll have to write all of that, but I'm going to write 8.88, or correctly said 8 and 88/100ths. Then I'm also going to find the square root of 80, and that's 8.94, etc. 8.94. So my number here has to be bigger than 8.88, but less than 8.94. How about 8.9, which is less than 8.94. This would just be 8.90, and bigger than 8.88. That's all you have to do. Find the square root of this number, write it down. Find the square root of this number, write it down, and then put a decimal only to the 10th place that falls in between. Let's look at another one. I don't see any reason to do it any way differently. Square root of 23. 23. This calculator asked me to hit the 23 first and then the square root button. Yours might be the other way around. I know the Google one is square root and then the number. Just make sure you know that. So this is 4.795. I'm going to try to get away with just writing 4. 4.79. And then 24 square root is 4.898, etc. 8.89. And I need a number 4.89. Sorry about that, everybody. We math teachers make mistakes once in a while. Anyway, we got 4.79 and 4.89. Well, that's going to be 4 point what? I think to get bigger than 7.9, I'm going to have to go to 8 or 80. And to be less than 0.89, it's just, to me, that is such a simple thing to do. I don't understand why they want you to get this complicated with it. I would like it if all of you understood exactly what they mean here, and we will probably talk about it in class, but I see no reason to get a question like this, find out what the square root of 11 is. Please ignore my notifications here. I get 3.31 here, maybe 3.32 if I rounded. So I'm guessing it's going to be higher than 3.32, so I'm going to guess it's 3.4 already. Let's see if that works here. 12 is 3.46. 3.46. So less than 3.46, higher than 3.32. If you have some number sense and understand money, that's $3.40. That's $3.46. That's $3.32. That's $3.40. That's what they want right there. So you would follow this instruction using digits 0 to 9. You'd type in a 3 in that box, a 4 in that box, and you'd have the answer. Okay, similar skill here. I want you to know exactly how to place an irrational number on a number line. So again, I'm going to use my calculator like I did in the example. I took the square root of 71, found it to be 8.4, put it at 6, 7, 8, and then the halfway mark would be right about there, would be 8.5. So I said 8.4261449, blah, 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 falls just before 8.5. So now I'm going to change colors and do that with the square root of 93. Simply plug that into my calculator, find out that that's 9.64. So I'll find where 9 is. This would obviously be 9, the digit right before 10. 9.6 would be just past the halfway mark, which would be right here, so maybe a little bit right of that. And the square root of 93 would be right there. Square root of 17, I'm going to guess is a little bit more than 4. Oops, excuse me. 17, square root is 4.1. Make sure I'm at 4. This is the number right before 5, so that's 4. 4.1 would be just barely past 4. Simple thing. So I'm going to ask you guys in class to do the same thing with the square root of 124 and the square root of 5. I'll probably draw names out of a bucket, so be ready to do that, or ask questions if you don't understand it. Simply put in square root of 124, 11.13, put it where it belongs. Okay? We'll do that with a couple more numbers, and hopefully you'll be proficient in that little skill really quickly. Alright, I forgot my lesson signs here, but I want to talk about these two. Would the square root of 9 fit between the square root of 8 and 10? If we understand radicals at all, I think we should understand that the square root of 8 is smaller than the square root of 10. So the square root of 8 would definitely be less than, and then this number would be less than that. Okay? So I made this one simple because if we're understanding this is the square root of 8, this is the square root of 10, this must be the square root of 9. The square root of 9 is exactly 3. My answer here is 3. Where kids go wrong is they want to put 9 here so badly because that's an 8, that's a 10, and they want a 9. But they do not have a radical sign around here. There's no radical here. So I have to find out what the square root of 9 is to put the right answer here. I hope I'm making sense. Same thing here. The square root of 63, then it would be the square root of 64 here, but there's no radical sign. So the square root of 64, most of you probably know, but I'll type it in my calculator, is 8. And that's the kind of thing they want to see. a rational number in between two irrational numbers. Same thing here. I made this one easy also. Square root of 80, square root of 81. Square root of 81 is 9. I hope you agree that that was simple. So the square root of 80 is less than 9. 9 is less than the square root of 82. Okay. Again, we'll do the same kind of thing in class. I'll show you one that's a little bit trickier. Square root of 11 is 3.31. You could do it this way. 3.31. All I need is a number that is in between the square root of 11 and the square root of 12. So the square root of 12 is 3.46. And just like those sample test questions that I grabbed from the internet earlier, I just need a number that's bigger than 3.31, smaller than 3.46. So I'm going to go straight to 3.4. Okay? Do the same thing here. You could probably get away with, let me show you this. 68, the square root of that is 8.246. Smaller than that would just be to get rid of this 46211. Because that would be 8.2, 0 repeating. And 0 repeating would be less than all of this right here. So the answer, all you really need to do is type in the square root of this number and basically use it to the 10th. And that was definitely right. Another way to prove that that's right, I'm going to take 8.2, or 8 2/10, and multiply it by itself, or hit the squared button. That means it'll multiply it by itself. 8.2 times 8.2 is 67.24. So I technically put the square root of 67.24 right here. I hope that makes sense. Again, I can just hit the square root of 88, drop all those extra numbers after the 10th place, and I'm going to have my answer. I keep trying to convince you guys that some things are pretty simple. Same exact thing. Square root of 18, drop all those numbers after the 10th spot, put your answer here and here. Do that exact same thing, and you'll be done. And you'll have the skill that I'm hoping you want, and the one that you definitely need. You gotta understand radicals, guys, and all irrational numbers fit on a number line. Thanks for watching, thanks for your attention, and we will see you next time.